Hello, everybody. It's Slushy, and welcome back to another movie review, or I guess welcome to a movie review. Today we'll be reviewing Exit 8. So I watched this movie a while ago, like back when it came out, and I totally spaced on making a video. Actually, I didn't really space. There was kind of a conscious decision by why I didn't do it, and that's because I've been trying to let it simmer on my mind to try to figure out if I can't come up with something negative to talk about. You know, when I make these reviews, like I don't think I've ever watched a movie other than Jason Takes Manhattan and like Mortal Kombat 1995. I mean, even Mortal Kombat 1995 had some things that I could take away that were okay, you know? Like, I don't think it's a good movie. I don't know how everyone loves that movie. I think it's a pile of crap. But Jason Takes Manhattan, quite literally, might be one of the worst movies ever made, specifically because they tried to make a good movie. Like, they didn't go into it with the intention of making a comedy film. They went into it with the intention of making a good horror movie, and they failed so bad that it's honestly hilarious. And it's such a disappointing movie at every step of the way. There's literally nothing positive I could take from that movie. Not even the kills were worthwhile. So, truly a mistake of a movie of all time. Truly one of the movies to ever exist. And that's about all it has going for it. It existed. It exists. It's out there. That might be a crime in of itself. In fact, that might be a crime against humanity. We should look to prosecute the director and the people who wrote that movie. And even the guys, the big wigs in the studio who gave it the okay, who said, hey, that's a hell of a script. Let's get that made right now. Whoever said that needs to be committed to the nearest mental facility. But anyways, we're going to be reviewing Exit 8. I've let it simmer on my mind for a long time, trying to think of something negative to come up with. And spoiler alert, I got nothing. You know, and I know a lot of people are going to laugh at that because a lot of people didn't like this movie. Like, I was kind of monitoring the critical reception and the audience reception of this movie, and most people are saying that it's a bad movie, which, like, I can understand why the broad majority of people who go to see this, like, if they just were bored on a Friday night or whatever, and, you know, they wanted something to watch, and Exit 8 happened to be in the theater, and they're like, hell, I love horror movies, I'm just going to go watch it. Your average person probably wouldn't enjoy it as much, but considering that I love the game, you know, I kind of have a complicated relationship with the game. I spent like 2.5 hours one playthrough trying to figure out how to beat it because it's really difficult when you don't realize that some of the anomalies are a lot less obvious than others. Like some of them are like in your face, and then some of them are as small as like the floor tiles changing. You know, if you don't look up at the ceiling sometimes, like directly at the ceiling at a certain angle, you won't see the anomaly. There's like a face that appears on the ceiling, but you have to be at a certain angle. Like if you're right below it, you won't see it. You have to walk down the hallway and then stare up at an angle, and that's the only way you can see it. And it's really creepy, but like so many of the stuff in that game, you'll miss it if you're not too careful, which is why it's so scary. Is you know that when you're walking by, you get that gut feeling in your chest, I'm missing something. I feel it. What is it? You know, then you double back trying to second guess yourself just to realize or to think to yourself, it was nothing. You know, there's nothing here. There's nothing off about this place. And there was. You just didn't notice it, which is so creepy. Even if the thing itself wasn't even creepy, just like a picture changing and you didn't notice it, there's something inherently creepy about an environment changing around you, and you know it's changed, but you don't know what it is. So you kind of have to make a rash decision. Am I going to decide to go back because I'm doubting myself, or do I just go forward and hope for the best? So it's a really fun game, really creepy. Like not creepy in a jump scary type way, even though there is a couple of jump scares, not many, but it's not really that kind of game. You know, it's more so based on the suspense, the liminality of, you know, walking around an endless room, essentially over and over and over until you figure out how to get out. And even then, like I believe, I don't know which one comes before the other, but then you have passenger or what is it called? Oh no, platform. I call it passenger for some reason. Platform 8, which I don't know which one came first, platform or exit. I have no idea. I would think platform, you know, because you're on the train heading to the exit, but it could be exit to the train. I literally don't know. All I know is at the end of the exit 8, you're going up a flight of stairs, and in platform, I think you're just getting off of a. Do you go down a flight of stairs? Because I literally can't remember platform, to be honest. I didn't like it as much as I liked Exit 8. I hope they don't turn it into a movie. I mean, I'll go watch it if they do, but I wouldn't be excited about it. I didn't enjoy it as much. It wasn't even as creepy. It wasn't as unsettling. It had a couple of decent moments, I guess, but it wasn't nearly as good. Anyways, about the movie. Like I said, it's the reason why I mentioned the game. There's a big reason. So this is a video game adaptation. If you didn't know from all the rambling I just did, which if you didn't know, maybe open your ears a little bit and listen sometimes. Okay? Um, it's based on the game. And a lot of video game adaptations, they fail time and time again to recreate the games. And sometimes you look, sometimes I'm about to go on another tangent again, so stay awake. Okay, stay awake. I'm going to be testing you later on to make sure that you caught everything that I said. Believe me, it's going to be on the test. There is a test. Stay tuned. And keep invested, obviously. Totally not for watch time purposes. So that's not why I'm doing this, by the way. I literally just get so interested in talking about a topic or a film that I just go on and on. Like, I don't feel like every video game adaptation has to be just like the source material. Like, I feel like it's okay to stray a little bit. You know, like if you like the new Resident Evil, right? That's a hot topic right now because a lot of people are pissed about it because it doesn't have Leon or Claire or Jill or Chris, and to a degree, I can kind of understand why people are upset because it sometimes can feel like it's a cash grab, like people are just using the Resident Evil name to make something. If it was literally any other director, I would probably agree with people, but because it's Zach Cregger, I genuinely do not believe that it's just a cash grab. Like this is not the kind of guy that makes cash grabs. He makes movies that he's passionate about, that he believes he's telling an original story with. So, like, he made Weapons, he made Barbarian, 2 movies in the last 10 years that have been, like, even though there's been people that didn't like either of them, they've been critically acclaimed. They've been, like, praised by so many big horror fans, including myself. I love both of them, especially Weapons. Like, Barbarian was phenomenal, but Weapons was on another level. I love that movie. It's so creepy. And it even had some comedic parts, of course, because Zach Cregger's, you know, he came from comedy. That's how he started. I'm excited for that one. And they made some big changes. Obviously, like I said, Chris, Leon, Claire, Jill, they're not in the movie, or at least they're not in the movie from what we know. He's said that it's like an alternate, like it's taking place in the same timeline, but separate from the games. So it's like the events of the games happen, but this is not about that. And I kind of appreciate that approach because every time, like except for Welcome to Raccoon City, I know people hated that movie, but I thought it was phenomenal. I don't know why so many people hated it. It had a cheap feel to it. It had like a college film geek gets a hold of a camera and decides to go make a Resident Evil film. It kind of had a vibe like that, like somebody's first film, and it wasn't Johannes Roberts' first film, but at the same time there was a charm to that because that's how the original Resident Evil was. It was kind of like a cheap game, you know. It took place basically in one location, and you know it didn't have a ton of action. You know, for that first game, it really didn't. It was kind of a dry game. It didn't have. It had a few jump scares and a couple cool creepy moments, but for the most part, it was just a very slow burn game. And I thought Welcome to Raccoon City nailed it. And I know I'm getting way off topic because this is about Exit 8, but I promise you I'm gonna circle back. So going into that whole topic of Resident Evil, you know, making some changes for their story because they want to do something new and original. I admire that, you know, because sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to recognize, okay, so we've made how many of these Resident Evil movies, and how many of them have lived up to the hype of, you know, manifesting those characters? Like Welcome to Raccoon City tried Leon, they tried Chris, they tried Jill, they tried Claire. People didn't like it. The movie failed, like quite big. Like it was supposed to be a bigger hit than it was. Like if it would have made 100 million. We would have had sequels to it already, and it deserves sequels. It was a really good movie. It's unfortunate that so many people dogged on it and didn't go to watch it. And then they'll complain about this movie, of course, because you got to have your cake and eat it too, right? So that's why I always say, don't listen to the reception of people, because I can almost bet that this movie is going to be a huge hit, despite the fact that everyone's hating on it. Like I'm already gonna go ahead and say it's probably gonna make 100 million, because of who he is. As a director, I personally believe it's going to be a massive hit. And it's probably going to be bigger than Welcome to Raccoon City at the very least. It's going to be bigger than that one. Because he's just a really good director. Not that Johannes Roberts isn't, because I've loved everything the dude's done. Even his indie stuff was good. But this dude is like already acclaimed as a director, like for making really solid films that are really deep and really important and involved, versus, you know, Johannes, who kind of makes more goofy or fun or, you know, cheesy type films like Strangers Pray at Night. That's a big example. And his independent work, very cheesy, you know. And like I said, there's a huge charm to that. I respect the hell out of him. He's never made a movie that I didn't like. So there's that. But But anyway, circling back to it, so I talked about Resident Evil and why I think it's okay sometimes to make changes. With Exit 8, the movie, they didn't make any changes as far as, manipulating the game, turning it into something it's not. They literally filmed the game. This is literally the game on screen. That's it. So if you don't like the game, you're not going to like the movie. And if you go to watch this movie, you buy this movie because you're expecting a really good horror movie and you know nothing about the game, chances are you're going to be for one, you're going to be confused. Two, if you're somebody who doesn't enjoy a slow burn where you're kind of walking around and like encountering everything as the characters are encountering it, which is oftentimes slow because they're encountering it in real time and you're watching it in real time, you're not going to like this movie. It's a slow burn. But for me, as somebody who does love a slow burn movie, like not to say that I don't enjoy a good action movie, because I do. I enjoy almost every genre or subgenre of movies. But sometimes it's okay to just watch a relatively slow movie. Same reason with games. Like sometimes I like a challenge in a game, and then sometimes I just want to have fun. This is one of those movies you just have fun. It's not trying to beat you over the head with something super serious and secretive. Like its message is right there in your face. I feel like if you don't get the message of the movie, you might be an idiot. It's not trying to be secretive at all. It's literally telling you, through context, what's happening with these characters. Why is this happening? Why are they in this situation? It tells you, like, several times. So if you don't get it, that mental asylum thing, that mental institution might need to happen. And also, you might need a lobotomy. That's a strong possibility. Very strong possibility. But again, yeah, they basically filmed the game, and not only did they just film the game, they also added context to it, and they added heart. And that's something that I didn't expect from this. I really thought, like, I had a feeling it was going to be a faithful adaptation because they got a Japanese filmmaker to do it, which I feel like that allows for a little bit more respect to the source material. I feel like if you would have got an American director, he probably would have did okay, but he probably wouldn't have done as good as this guy did. So, and I hate that I don't know your name. Even if I looked it up, I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try it. When that DVD and Blu-ray comes out, you better believe I'm putting it on my shelf. I love the movie. 10 out of 10. I can't come up with a complaint, so it has to be a 10 out of 10. I've thought about this ever since the movie released. I can't even remember when it released. Was it March, April? I have no idea. And it was in Japanese, by the way, with English subtitles. And that didn't bother me in the slightest, because I wasn't there for the dialogue, even though the dialogue, obviously, you can read it. And reading subtitles never bothers me. It doesn't distract me from the movie. It's just kind of like something that I can read while I'm watching, It doesn't, which is crazy because I have ADHD, and like right now, my background, these lights and the decor behind me, it's literally distracting me, and I keep finding myself like starting to zone out to look at one of the things that's behind me, which, I kind of did this for the background's sake, I thought it would make for a cool thumbnail, as compared to my TV in the background. It seems a little bit more interesting. I love the movie. Again, zero complaints. I really want to give you something to be like, okay, I can see where you're coming from, but I'm sorry. I didn't see anything bad. Everything that I saw, I liked. They made an improvement on the game, which that's never happened with the film adaptation. I've never seen a film adaptation where I was like, I like the game now. I like the game even more now, and I have a better respect for Exit 8 now. And I can't say that about any other game adaptation. Even the ones that I truly love, like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like Five Nights at Freddy's movies, they were good in my opinion. I loved them. They're extremely personal to me because the franchise is extremely personal to me. Case in point. But it's like, they didn't make me love the games more. It just kept my love. It's like, yeah, that was awesome. As a fan, that was really awesome. But I feel like it didn't really... and maybe that's because, I've been a fan since the beginning, 2014. So maybe it's because it's just been going on so long for me that it's like, it doesn't give me the same feeling. Because Exit 8's a relatively new game. So when I saw the movie, and they delivered what they did, which again was a very emotional, really well done film, I came away having a better appreciation for the game, where I'm like, damn. Like, it makes me wonder, were they actually trying to say something with the game? Now, maybe I'm reading too far into it. Maybe it's just a thing for the film, that they wanted to make the film seem a little bit deeper than just a guy wandering halls, figuring out what's wrong with him. But it may be because that doesn't really work for a movie. Like, it'd be very tedious to literally just have a guy going in circles for literally no reason. Like, there's no story behind it. A guy just winds up in a loop. Like, that would not make sense. So maybe it was just a film thing, but this movie really makes me think that maybe they were building towards something with the games. Maybe they were actually saying something. Maybe some of the events that happened had a purpose, you know, and it wasn't just random creepy shit happening. It was trying to tell you something. And I never understood it. I just thought it was a creepy game. But this movie makes me think. And I think whenever a movie makes you start to think deeper, even if it's just for the movie, they did their job. You know, they made a movie that makes you think after the movie's over, and that's not easy to do, and it rarely happens for me. So, Exit 8, 10 out of 10. I literally have nothing negative to say about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the movie. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. Support the people behind it, you know. Yeah, great acting by everybody involved. The Walking Man, you know, I don't remember what the first guy's called. Is it the Lonely Man? The Lost Man? Something like that. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Great acting across the board. And then the girl in the movie. Holy crap, she's creepy as hell. The part where she's just smiling at him is just so uncanny and so freaky. I love that stuff. One of the movies I'm going to be talking about really soon, by the way, Obsession, has a lot of sequences that remind me of that. Not that, you know, creepy smiles is some brand new thing. It's been a thing that's happened for forever, you know, as long as horror's existed. A creepy smile or a creepy stare is like just, that's literally horror. You know, you don't necessarily need an extremely loud jump scare. Sometimes somebody just uncannily smiling at you while not saying anything is one of the most terrifying things you could ever witness. See? Pretty freaking creepy. You might also be laughing at how ridiculous my facial expression was. But anyways, Exit 8, 10 out of 10. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what your opinion is on the film and the game down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.